So this is session 2 of 2 for Kuro. This is a now sadly out of print J-horror cyberpunk game, originally from the French, translated to the English, and that license was dropped by, I believe, Cubicle 7, along with a bunch of other stuff. But so be it. Anyway, this is a near future game in a Japan that's been isolated from the international community because of strange events. And it's closed off. It's got all kinds of tech in it, but it's also a world where things are starting to move out of the shadows. Weird supernatural things have started to occur, and people are becoming more and more nervous about that. Uncertain what the future will bring in a world that's heavily divided along class lines, with a government that's shaky but trying to maintain order. All of that are forefront of people's minds here. So I'm going to have the players introduce themselves very quickly. And so Kyosuke, I'm going to try and get that a little bit right this time, or not. Can you please give us the 1-minute pitch on who you are?
So I am a very good student, or was a good student, who was kind of living a little bit of a double life as a courier for some shady individuals locally, trying to balance my grades and investigate some of the stranger goings-on around me. I am the youngest member of the party.
Yes.
And apparently a master of biology and medicine.
Yes.
And I love motorcycles. That is about it.
Awesome. And sort of a medical student, but maybe not attending as much as you want to, and kind of hiding that from your parents, right?
Yeah, right.
Naoki, please tell us about yourself.
Naoki is a private investigator, formerly a policeman until the event happened. And since then, he's got disillusioned with the police and wanted to go off and do the good things when he could. So that sort of led him into this group in the previous zombie apocalypse episode. So, and since then, he's been, just working his way through things. He's a bit of a loner. As far as I know, we don't really have anybody else identified in his family or anything like that. He's good with handguns and brawling, and lockpicking and sneaking. So that's what he tends to do.
Sherry, are we able to get the headphones up? Are you able to hear us now? Computers. I had this earlier this week where Windows was like, oh, we did an update and we thought your audio and video settings were wrong, so we changed them. Hope you have fun trying to figure out what we changed them to.
I'm still waiting for my earphone wires, so if I start echoing, tell me, I'll mute.
Oh, okay. Give Sherry a second.
It looks like you can still buy Kuro as a PDF.
Yeah, but and I think they've just decided to return the license. I'm sure they've got the rights to keep selling the PDF, but I know that they've kind of cut themselves off from future productions, and the sort of original core book is incredibly hard to find, and went out of print actually a couple years ago. But they've got a lot of interest.
And how much modding did you do to the rules?
How much modding? Well, so the skills are heavily collapsed.
That's right. Okay.
Look at the skills, and you're going, wait, those are collapsed? Yeah. So that's the shortened version of the skills here. So if I were going to mod it more, I would do it even further. Give me 1 second. I'm going to run a second set of headphones down to my lovely wife.
I've been looking forward to playing with you, though, Christo. I've watched you play a ton of things, and you play with Patrick quite a bit, and that he's my husband, so talks about enjoying playing with you so much. And it's nice.
Good. I'm glad he enjoyed it. Yeah, we had a lot of fun with Stone Top. And the Veil also. Oh yeah, the Veil was a pretty wicked game. But,
yeah, he really loved that Veil.
Yeah, it takes you into some pretty interesting places. Very unexpectedly.
I got to play it at the con when Johnstone ran it, but he tightened up what he used in it. So I'm going to get to play with Frazier later on this month. So I'm looking forward to that.
Good for you. Later this month, or is it December?
I think it's November the 20th. He's running something for Ridge. Just a little one shot. And Jeremy, it's awesome seeing you again.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even realize you were playing.
It ended up that Patrick got called into work, so I had the free night, and I looked down and I said, holy crap, Lowell has a space open? And I think we get to play in Andrew Shields' game next week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You have to get Andrew Shields to run Blades in the Dark.
Really? He would be good at that.
Oh, it's fantastic. He did it. I was in a beta when it was still in playtest, or in beta version, whatever you want to call it. He ran it, and he built up so much setting around it. I mean, there's already a lot there, but so he makes the world really alive.
He does a beautiful job of all the inclusive environment he does. He's so good, because this will be the second time I'm playing Mad Monks with him, and he does a great job with it.
Yeah.
I suppose he's recovering since he had that emergency appendectomy just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I played with him 3 days ago. Mad Monks. He's doing all right.
Good.
Yeah. I played the Black Space hack with him.
Oh, is it nice?
That was the first time I played with Gauntlet. But yeah, that was great. That's a great setting. That's like his last stretch goal for the Kickstarter, I think. This generation ship. But that was brilliant. That was so good.
Sherry's headset died. We've replaced her headset, and she is logging back on.
So, Tyler, what are you running in December?
Hopefully.
Pardon me?
What are you running in December, Tyler?
Oh, I've got December. I'm going to be doing Bedlam Hall for Christmas in the Haunted Mansion.
That's great. Sherry, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Sorry about that.
That was very strange.
I just cut out right there mid-sentence.
Well, they aren't the most expensive headphones, so... Now, if I could put you on the spot immediately, can you please tell us about Makoto?
Okay. So Makoto is sort of, she's 20-something. When she was, she comes from a family that is sort of like the weird one on the block. Her grandmother used to tell fortunes, and her mother was rumored to have, the evil eye and all that sort of thing. So she's accustomed to, like, people always kind of thinking she was going to be weird like that. So she tried very hard to be the most super normal girl when she was in high school. In fact, a lot of people didn't even notice her a lot of the times. But then after this event happened, she kind of realized that she had the talent like her mother and her grandmother before her. And she really kind of liked it. And to her, it's like this is kind of her time. So she sort of kind of completely changed her look. She's a little bit goth, but she's goth kawaii. She's cute. She's a little old for this thing, this shtick, this particular look, 20-something, but she's really into it. So essentially she stylizes herself as a spiritualist problem solver.
Excellent.
Also, as the night goes on, her hair gets more and more crazy.
Okay.
So, very sorry.
Tyler, you have picked the Overclocker. So tell us about your character, what that means, and how you picture them.
All right, I'm playing Kyoshu Black, which Kyoshu is professor. And I looked to see what the Japanese for black was, and it turns out it's Kuro. So I stuck with black. I was a professor, both academic teaching and on occasion working in lab work. I was at the very height of my field. I was so far ahead of everyone that they were jealous, each and every one of them. When I finally made my most brilliant breakthrough, the government came, took it all away. I had come as a visiting professor, and so I'm not actually a citizen. And they had stripped this from me and stripped my discovery and my research from me, and had informed me that if it was too big a problem for me, they could always, put me on a boat and send me away. But Japan is at the very forefront of robotics. And so instead, I left in shame and found my way down to our neighborhood, set myself up as a repairman, so much below my dignity. And meanwhile, have been continuing on with my studies and my research. And soon, they will all pay for what they've done.
And who is the they that is in your sights right now?
Primarily, it's my old colleagues who turned in my research, and I don't have as much of an anger at like the government. I'm a very petty person. It's really the faces I can point to. You're on the list.
And describe to me how you picture Kyoshu Black.
I put him up there as Dr. Strangelove, and he's got that sort of wild look. He dresses kind of archaic for the time. He wears a suit. He has a bit of that mad scientist hair to him. And he has that sort of fevered look of a lot of brilliant people. Like he's just so excited all the time. He does tend to carry around like some of his tools. He has a gun. But he's fidgety. He's a little bit on that sort of wavelength.
So is it in the neighborhood that they go, oh, well, if you really need your, X, Y, or Z thing repaired, you have to go to that crazy gaijin guy that has that little shop down the alley.
I think so.
And you have to listen to him for a while. His Japanese is okay, but he just kind of goes on for a while.
Exactly.
Okay. So let me ask then the others. Kyosuke, has your path, we'll say, has crossed with Kyoshu Black. What was that like?
Oh, I think I probably I think he caught me once delivering or looking into one of the packages I was supposed to deliver from him, knowing it was maybe something illegal and being a little too curious. And he hasn't hired me again since then.
That makes,
I like that.
Makes sense. And Naoki, what do you think about this foreigner that's around the neighborhood?
Well, he's been useful several times in investigations I've had. He knows so much about robotics and surveillance equipment that it's been quite helpful. and he's helped fix my Elo several times.
Fair enough. And again, describe that for us. Your Elo.
Oh, man! I should have watched the first episode again to see how I described it. So it's a floating. I think it's sort of like a floating eye, isn't it?
I think that's how you described it. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think you can project it as small holograms.
And Makoto, what has been your interactions primarily with Kyoju?
Oh, the prof, he's crazy. I love him. You know, if you just stay there and hang around, let him talk at you for a while, he tips really well. But he likes his pizza with that weird ketchup sauce on it. No squid ink for him.
Okay. So let's recap where we are case-wise. I'm gonna kind of summarize things, and then I'd like you to fill that in. And then I'm probably gonna I may hard frame you in on this Kyoju, but we'll come to that in a sec. So last time the group went and happened to meet each other at an automat, and late night, just as the clubs were getting out, and in the midst of that crowded event, a young woman came in and started killing people with a big, essentially, a fish cutting blade, and there was a kind of a trampling and a running, and a lot of people cut down. And in fact, Makoto seemed to have caused it to stop by throwing out her little, essentially, mechanical Gohei warding stroboscope, the one that she just has the open license on and hasn't paid for the full version of. But essentially brought that woman to a halt. You went over there. People were injured. We had Kyosuke doing first aid. The woman had died in the meantime. When you reached her, she was dead. It was unclear how she had died. And the tattoos that you had originally seen on her seemed to have vanished. The group were then accosted and questioned by a notable police detective who grumpily asked questions and eventually dismissed you, leaving you with a little information, the suggestion that there had been other similar cases of late. And you followed up on that in a couple of different ways, doing some general research, tracking the young woman back, and sort of two lines of investigation fell out from that. One was finding out where this woman lived, that she lived with her family, and going and looking into that, and then also going, particularly Kyosuke, going to the morgue late at night by himself, and with some assistance talking his way in. There he was able to find that some odd facts, that there had been some other killings, that there were some strange factors there, that the tattoos, the nano tattoos that the person seemed to have had before, seemed to have ruptured out of the skin and were missing, and that may well have been what led to the death. It's not entirely clear, and that was the sort of the big finding, and the finding that this had happened at least once before, maybe a couple of times. But when that line of questioning was brought up, the morgue attendant woman was closed down. Meanwhile, Makoto and Naoki went to the house, the grocery store that this young woman lived at with her parents. Were able to find out that she was nice, pretty normal, that she had been into tattoos and had like invested her money in getting this kind of high-end nano tattoo, and that she had done, had gone to various clubs where they did, patterns and putting new imagery and things in there, but not anything that was weird or supernatural like the tattoos that you had seen before. And I think that's into my mind where we left off. What else was on the table that maybe I didn't mention? Or was I completely right there? Look at that.
Yeah,
Sherry?
most of it. I think the morgue attendant said there were 3 others before this one.
Mhm.
And the other one that we know happened earlier happened at a collectible card gallery.
Yes.
And hadn't the girl that you investigated her room, hadn't she been delving into mind-altering drugs and stuff?
No, I don't think so. In fact, hadn't been on drugs at all.
Okay, I thought she'd had some sort of dream thing she was doing.
She had clearly been looking into nightmares and nightmare things. Like for the past few days before this event, she had clearly been having nightmares. So let's assume that the 3 of you meet up together. Does that seem reasonable after those sets of investigations? And what I'm going to say is this, Kyoju, is that when you maybe rolled open at early hours, the stall, rolled up the thing this morning for your shop, there were police all over the place. And they, were closing things out. And because you're a foreigner, the cops rolled in on you, checked your paperwork 2, 3, maybe 4 times. And I'm going to say that towards the end of that, as they're kind of finishing hassling you, is when Naoki Makoto, you are heading back to meet up, and you will see the cops hassling Kyoju, and you had some questions about some technical things. So, what do you 2 want to do?
Are these local cops?
Yeah, it looks like essentially the guy from the police box had been sent out to go and check on the usual suspects and roust them, and this seems to be their way of actually getting something done and logging actual activity. They're moving his stuff around. They're checking things. They're doing a full scan for any illegal substances. All of that kind of well, we're going to run this documentation again. I'm going to run it up the line. That kind of thing.
Careful with that.
And you can see that Kyoju is getting a little more agitated as this is going on.
Okay, so typically, what is it that would actually distract them away from this sort of thing?
Tell me, what do you think?
I think that we said, excuse me, last night when I was delivering pizza, I saw some people gathering over, and I will point out an area in the neighborhood, but like in the back alley part of it. Says you might want to look around over there.
All right. Let's have you make a charisma plus persuasion roll.
All right. Once again, I try to understand my character sheet.
This is as much as anything, just so we can remind ourselves how the dice work.
Yes. And you said persuasion. I have a boost. So a boost gives me an extra die. Okay.
Yes.
I can do this. That's 4 dice.
4 dice plus 6.
So that's 9, 15.
Yeah. So they're they've had their fun at the expense of this foreigner for a bit, and they also probably kind of, as you're saying that, they look up and they see Naoki and they know his rep. So they will oh god, and they'll move along. They do that thing where you just keep everything in order, and they point their stun stick at you.
Of course, officer, of course. I'm a good law-abiding citizen.
And they'll head off, leaving you three there. And to make it completely coincidental, like a TV movie, that's the point at which probably Kyosuke comes up on his bike, just as the cops are heading out.
Hello, guys.
Hey, good timing. Hey, we should ask the prof about these things.
Makoto, thank you very much for your help.
Oh, no problem. You're my best customer.
I do love your fine pizza.
It's the best, isn't it? I'm going to put that on my bumper sticker. Yeah. So we get a question. Do you know anything about those nano tattoos?
I know something about everything, my dear. Please, come right in.
All right. I'll hold the door open for the other two.
So, Kyoju, what do you suppose your sort of the space that you have for yourself and other people in your little workshop? What do you suppose that looks like?
The front end is just cluttered with various pieces of electronics and things I'm in the process of repairing and everything. But it's really small, really kind of compact up here. I have a little office set that's off to the side, but I'm figuring I have somewhere behind one of these shelves I could slide it to the side, and that's where my illegal laboratory is.
Yeah. So he moves to the side and can let you guys in a little more space here. There's stuff that if you were still on the force, Naoki, yeah, you'd be shutting this place down in a heartbeat. I think I've kind of hard framed you into a scene together, and I apologize for that. But I'm gonna kind of put you guys on the spot, and I assume that you will pass on the what's going on to Kyoju.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, tell her that apparently reprogrammed recently, and it was making her crazy.
That's very interesting. Since this seems fairly sensitive, I'll go ahead and lock up the front of the shop.
Okay.
And bring everybody to the back. What have you found? I had heard about some of these murders, well, attacks, the other night, but you say it. She seemed to be reprogrammed in some way.
Well, the tattoo was, and then, well, Naoki found out that she was like searching on the internet for things about like bad nightmares and stuff like that just before she did this.
It is entirely possible. I imagine that something could have been put into the tattoos. What sort of tattoos were they? Ink?
Well, they were some sort of nanoparticles, Professor. I have something here you might want to examine. I'll hand him my little ranch dressing cup of blood from the floor. Then I'll back up quickly. I hope he doesn't notice that I'm close to his stuff. I'm like trying to compress into as tiny a ball as possible, and not incur his wrath.
Okay.
I'll take it over to one of the scanning. Oh, we're sharing. One of the scanning things, and it is absolutely. I cannot understand people willing to put actual nanotechnology into their body. Do they not know how terrible that can go? As I begin looking it over.
Sure. Let's have you make a, we're going to call this electronics roll with intelligence.
Okay. And I have the helpful software there, so I've taken it up a bit.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Alrighty. So that's 5 dice. No, that's +5 off of my intelligence in it. That's how that's
so 3 dice, and then add 5 to it.
Right.
And actually 7 with your help soft.
All right. So 7, 13, +7, 20.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you 2 pieces of information, and I'm going to let you ask a follow-up question.
Okay.
One of the things is, so there's definitely some nanoparticles in this blood. That's identified. The unusual thing that you know about, say, the nano materials that are used for tattoos is that they break down when they're outside of the body, or at least they're supposed to. They're supposed to break down when they're not in that biological system. But these don't, the bits and pieces you've seen here aren't degrading like you would have expected them to. And you literally can't figure out why. The other thing that you will know based on this is that to make the kind of hacking that of someone's tattoos, it would take one of 2 things. Either you would have to have access to sort of the installer, like the person who put it in, who originally put the nanoparticles in, or you would have to spend some time hacking the encryption on the nanoparticles. The second one's more likely, but it would take somebody with some equipment and some time to run that. Wouldn't just be a casual thing. Sherry, can you hear us now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can sort of hear you if I listen on the computer speakers, but not on the headphones anymore.
Oh, that's weird.
I give up.
Well, we're not getting echo, so that's okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right. So so that's the information that you have. I'm going to let you ask a follow-up then.
Okay. So they're not breaking down, but am I noticing they're multiplying?
No, definitely not.
A lot of times when manufacturers make things, there are some telltale signs of what manufacturer did it, little hallmarks of certain people or companies.
Mm-hmm.
Am I seeing any of that, or these look clean or new for anything I have knowledge of?
I will say that you can probably get the installer SIG branding on it from the person who put this together, and essentially there's a place, not exactly a dive, but certainly lower end place to get these installed called Golden Castle, and it had, you can see their SIG on it.
Golden Castle did this to whoever you got it from. Not the best of work, but they are at least not particularly moral on what they'll do down that area.
I think she just went for affordability. So the tattoo that they had was I think it was a spell to summon hungry ghosts. So do you think that those nanos will be affected by something spiritual?
Kyoju, what is your take on that kind of fringe science?
I actually think that as part of my research over the years, I've been willing to delve into any sort of little thing, anything that gives an edge. So I think I like occult tech, and may even, like you say, your mother was also involved in it. Might have even, have talked to her at some point, or, I would have been all about it. I just have none of the gift myself.
Awesome. How do we test something like that, Prof?
It would take a practitioner, I imagine, to see perhaps if you could detect the power, perhaps search it, though I would worry. A nanite that isn't breaking down could also begin to multiply.
Ooh, that's terrible.
So yeah, let's cut to Naoki. You've been listening to this. What's your take on all of this?
Are they communicating outside of this area? Is there a command and control center working with them?
I'll answer that. You look at it; these are like the detritus, the broken down pieces of it. They don't seem to be active any longer, and probably couldn't even be reactivated at this point. So there's no like command or control going on right now. Kioski, what's your take on all this?
I'm under the impression that these nanoparticles are carrying some sort of disease. I believe that it's spreading to others nearby with similar tattoos, but are you all really suggesting that this is supernatural in some way? Professor, surely you don't... Please, somebody, this can't be possible.
Science and magic are very similar, my dear boy. And for the caveman, even the wheel was magic.
Oh.
I'll just take a couple steps back.
I think Naoki at that pops like a big bubble of bubble gum.
Probably hear that the echoing sound of that cricket in the back of your head at that point, Kiosuke, too.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea of this experiment because maybe, Makoto, maybe you can activate them or make them communicate. Maybe we can trace it back.
Oof. I would think at the very least, we would want something, maybe a containment. That would make more sense. Containment or a ward. I mean, definitely a ward against hungry ghosts, because those things were trying to summon them, right? That was the spell. So, well, I've only got some real basic stuff. So...
Why would someone want to summon a hungry ghost?
That's the odd thing. Usually you maybe placate them, and you kind of know they're there. And you definitely try to exercise them if they're like the ones that, well, are hungry for blood. A lot of times you can just feed them rotten decay or food. I mean, that's what's at a lot of the shrines, is things to feed the hungry ghosts.
Makoto, is it possible someone could accidentally cast a spell using occult symbols?
Well, here's the thing. That's a really ornate symbol. And it's literally written in the opposite direction it would usually be. So it's not like they found something ancient, unless they found an ancient evil tome.
Was it backwards or inside out? Was it summoning the ghost into the body?
I would say, and at this point I'm like, let me think about that. I mean, it has all those borders. Lowell, may I try to figure that out? Or do I just know?
This is something that you actually had the pieces to last time. The symbology that was done that was clearly hacked into this person's tattoos was essentially a spell to summon a hungry ghost into that person's body.
Oh. So that's why she wasn't herself, essentially.
But so where did the ghost go then? If a ghost was summoned into her, and then she was taken down, did you banish the ghost?
Well, I did put my occult ward off. I mean, the strobe, the word strobe. That'd be the first time it did anything other than give someone a headache.
I believe that these nanoparticles are infecting others. It seems to be acting like a disease. So I do not believe the ghost is banished once the host is deceased. At least not entirely.
The fact that they're not breaking down as they should either means they were shoddily constructed or very well constructed. The fact that they are not going through their assimilation programming, that means someone either intentionally intends for them to continue on and perhaps even infect others when they are active, or someone was very careless.
Kyojo, if we had active ones, would you be able to use these to figure out how to deactivate them?
It's possible.
One thing is remember she was covered in blood. And so I wonder if the way that they had spread has to be the blood.
Yeah, let me clarify the blood. The blood came from her swinging that blade around in the middle of a crowded room.
Okay, but we did find the nanodetritus in blood.
Yeah.
Yes, like it had seeped out of the body into the blood that was on the floor.
Okay, and I just wondered if that was kind of how it had to travel, was in blood.
So is it are the deactivated ones that we have now, are they in blood?
They were.
They are essentially from the dried blood that Kiosuke gathered from around the victim. He found the detritus pieces of those nanos in that.
But it's old blood that's coagulated probably by now.
Yeah. Not
So
fresh blood.
Do we have any fresh blood we could add to see if they reactivate?
I'll give him a very curious look with my eyebrow raised.
So I guess okay, then we'll take out like a small knife out of his boot and slice a bit of his finger so that he can drop some blood onto the nanites.
Okay. It's a really interesting question here. What you will realize through a couple of experiments, you've got the lab stuff set up and you've got the blood there, is that what's left here is clearly the ripples, like the leftovers, and the volume that you're seeing compared to the amount of nanites that you would have expected to be in a tattoo. How do I put this best? You'll realize that the nanites that are left in here can't really be reactivated, but it does look like a good portion of the nanites that were in that person's body are missing. The tattoo is no longer in the body.
Gotcha. So the density is way low for what I would think one of these tattoos would have.
Right.
There aren't nearly as many as should be. So either they were degrading within the body, which evidence points to them not doing it properly, or they escaped.
The latter would follow with what I found at the morgue. The woman's wounds seem to indicate that the nanites burst from her body.
Were there any survivors that were attacked by her? There were killed people. Were there any survivors?
Oh yeah, there were a lot of people who were in the essentially the automat when this all went down. So most of the people survived.
But so there were injured that survived is what I'm asking.
Oh yeah, hit by the knife blade or trampled during the thing. So yeah, I would say quite a few of them.
There are few things more frightening than rogue nanites. It's apocalyptic in scope.
And Naoki will just sort of yawn at that and saying, "Oh, another apocalypse."
This is my first. Anyone else? I'm about freaking out a little bit here, guys.
You get used to them after a while.
I just saw glowing crickets. I did not sign up for this.
Where? Did you take a sample?
No. Forget I said anything. Customer confidentiality.
So, should we perhaps investigate the injured in the hospital to make sure that they're not contaminated? Is there some means of early detection we could use? And then the other option is to go to, maybe it's time for me to get a tattoo at the Golden Castle.
See the injured and I could get a sample of their blood, I could at least see if some of these nanites have transferred. And again, I believe the Golden Castle would have been where this young lady would have gotten hers.
Was the Golden Castle also the place where she had the last software installed as well?
Yeah, it's not the youth place that they trade tattoo programs around, essentially the images and things. Golden Castle is actually where they did the hardware to install that, rather than trading the tattoo apps. So they're two different places. They're not that far off from each other in the neighborhood, though.
It may be wise for us to see if others have been infected with this first. Time may be of the essence in that case, and you can't depend on doctors to find that sort of thing.
So do you have a portable detector? It sounds like we need to go to 2 places as soon as possible. Making Lowell happy that we're going to split the party.
I get a big old grin on my face when I hear that.
You did.
Love it. Sherry, I think we didn't hear what you had to say there for a second. I think I think you need to move the mic closer, maybe. Yeah, now your mic's out. We're actually, since we're looking at it like a potential split, let's take our 5-minute break here, and when we come back, then we'll divide the party and conquer.
The nanites are attacking Sherry's computer.
Fair enough.
Conquer who, I wonder. Ah.
So where's your money? Where do you think, who's going to get in more trouble?
Oh God, I don't know. Depends on where the hungry ghosts are, I guess. So, what do you do for a living that keeps you traveling so much? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't usually travel that much, but the company I work for got a large, as I call it, program in the Hampton area. And so I'm coming down to assist with that. I do quality assurance. So yeah, that's the best conversation ender you can have. All I have to say is I do quality assurance and that's it.
Right. Yeah, you could be a government employed assassin. That's the best cover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like in Mission Assurance. Remember when he was saying, what was it? He's at a dinner party with his fiance or something like that, and they're asking him what he does, and he says he works for the Department of Transportation, analyzing traffic patterns. And that was like immediate turnout. Nobody wanted to talk with him.
Yeah.
So remember that if you're ever at a party with somebody and there's somebody that comes up to you don't want to talk to, tell them you do quality assurance. It's either that or tell them that you're an IRS auditor, but then you're impersonating a federal employee, so that's probably not a good idea.
Guess we'll just have to decide which group's going where.
Oh God.
I figured I was going to get a tattoo.
That makes sense.
I've got a gun, you've got a gun. So we split up the guns.
Well, I think if, since I don't know anything about software, and I guess if things go bad with hardware, maybe at least I can patch you up. But I think Makoto might be better equipped to deal with occultic symbols encoded in software than.
So are you thinking that Makoto might be better going to the tattoo parlor or the other place?
Maybe the other place, but
the hospital. Okay.
Or weren't we going to? Are we splitting up? Sorry, to the hospital.
That's what I expect, because if this is contagious, then we probably, if it's anything like the last game, we have to move pretty fast.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking we were going to split up and like investigate the
2 places over at the Golden Castle.
Yeah, the Golden Castle and the software.
That's true too. You're right. There are 3 places. We could split 3 ways. That would be really bad.
Ooh.
Lowell would really love that, but I think one of us would probably die.
Yeah, probably. And probably
not pretty
as much done. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the hardware place and that 2-2 place are close together. Tsukujo and Naoki could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not convinced about whether or not it's the actual nanites or just the symbols that are being programmed into them.
But the symbols without a magical practitioner wouldn't do anything, I don't think.
I don't think, but maybe the tattoo artist is a practitioner.
Maybe. Somehow I think those nanites are carrying something. That's me, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could be. Who knows? Well, an easy way to find out is to find out if the person who was doing the program programmed those symbols in. And if they didn't, then they're innocent and the nanites are changing their own programming.
Well, but how are you going to get them to confess to that?
You've got a pretty...
You've got to get a tattoo. You go in, get a tattoo, get that program, and if he programs you with an evil that steals your soul, then we know that I was wrong.
I love how quick you are to go along with that. Yeah, you're going to go in and get a tattoo, and we'll see how it goes. I'm game. You may not like the results, though.
No, I don't. I don't think I could take you in a fight.
Well, it depends what happens to me, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm a pretty good brawler. So
Yeah, and you've got a gun, right?
Yep.
I've got smart shoes.
You've got what? Smart shoes? Is that what you said?
Smart shoes. Yeah.
What do smart shoes do?
Like I guess maybe they're water resistant, and I can program them to take me places. I can just, if I'm too lazy to watch where I'm going, I can just tell them take me to this place.
You know all the right dance moves.
Yeah.
Do they change color, and can they change the footprints you leave?
They're what we're gonna move on to once things like Google Glass get too boring. You know.
Google Shoe. Okay.
Google Shoe.
So let's figure out how you guys want to split and where you want to go. And we'll start with the pairing sans Sherry. She is switching machines. How do you want to do this, and where do you want to go?
I think Naoki is going to the tattoo parlor.
Okay.
I don't know who's going with Naoki.
And I think I probably need to go to the hospital if I'm going to try and find if these victims have the nanites on them.
Okay.
I better go to the hospital with you then.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds logical.
Mm-hmm.
And Sherry can try and figure out if the tattoo person is a mystic practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's start. We're going to start with Kyoju and Kyosuke heading over to one of the hospitals that's nearby. Again, this is just sort of a not the nicest neighborhood. This particular prefecture, particular district of Edo, of Shin-Edo, is mostly for the working classes. And so when you do arrive at the hospital, it is that kind of sort of slightly green-tinged light. Everything is like a slight olive off color, and it's pretty hectic there because it's mostly a smaller local service hospital, and a small emergency room, and for people coming in doing appointments and testings and things like that. And so they've gotten flooded with these people who were injured over at that thing several hours ago. And anyone who is looking for loved ones has come here. So when you arrive, it's kind of packed up and noisy, and kind of a chaos. But this is your element, Kyosuke. So let me ask you, how would you get you two in? And where would you want to go?
God. I'm not sure where to start looking. I'm sure Kyosuke is much better at this than I would be. So,
just give me an angle of entry. How do you think you would make your way into this hospital in the midst of this chaos? Do you know somebody there? Do you know a back way? What kind of thing?
I probably do know someone there, since it's pretty local.
Okay, what do they do?
I probably know maybe a student who was a class or two ahead of me, who's graduated and working there.
Okay.
Just as a
let's say a guy named Katahide.
Okay.
Who, him, you have a little bit of an angle with him because he maybe has run, you've seen his name pop up on courier lists before. You have the sense maybe he's dropping some things off the back of the cart, as it were. But he's essentially a lab tech here. So you call him up, and he'll come down, to the back service entrance, and he'll open it, and it's, good 5:30 in the morning. It's got cool kind of rain last night. While there's that noise in the rest of the hospital, most of what you're hearing right now are the robobots going and doing the clearing of the roads that as they go along and are clearing stuff out. And this guy looks at you and he's like, "Hey," and then he sees the gaijin who's with you, and he's like, "Oh, what's up, man?"
Hey, what was his name again?
Katsuhide.
All right. Hey,
I hope
Katsuhide.
that's what I said the first time. If you're watching at home, you'll realize that maybe I said it wrong the second time, but we'll find out. Hey, what's up? What's with Grandpa Moses?
Don't mind him. He's something of a tech expert. There's a weird rumor, a favor I'm doing for someone, about some people with some tattoos. You heard any rumors? Apparently there was a huge slaughter earlier. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah, this is that's what everybody's all up in arms about, was a big attack at the automat. He'll tell you what he knows. There's already rumors, about some sort of a serial killer kind of thing, or a mad cult, and he'll babble about that for a while, and then he'll kind of and so what does he wanted?
I heard there was another killing, and these people might be involved in a cult or something, and marking themselves with illegal nanoparticle tattoos.
Oh wow, man, that sounds heavy.
Yeah, you don't have any of the victims here, do you?
Oh, you mean the people who are at the automat?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all here.
Oh. Yeah. I don't want to start a panic, but I'm kind of worried that something might be going on with those nanoparticles. I wonder if you could maybe just point me in the right direction. Maybe I get a word with one of these victims.
And you want me to let you in on up into the hospital floors?
Yeah, that'd be great. We won't cause any trouble.
That could get me into some trouble if I just let you in. Seem kind of lean, kind of puts his hand sort of out in a general direction.
God. Oof, how much money do I have on me?
I don't know. Tell me.
That is a good question. Probably not a lot.
Yeah. Do you want to give him your last few dollars to?
Yeah, I'll hand it to him and kind of look over at the professor. Hintingly. Yeah, I'll hand it. Then I'll hold on to it for a second, try to tug it back before I let go.
I could reach in and pull out a few yen, I suppose, and discretion is our middle name, sir.
Yeah, okay. You just go up the back stairs. Just don't make a ruckus. And don't get me in trouble.
Sure.
This is what, like 2 bowls of ramen that you just bribe me with. So
hey, there's a good ramen stand nearby.
I know. I'm gonna actually go there. So if everything goes pear-shaped while you guys are here, I'm not around.
Right, yeah. I mean, I never saw you.
All right. Bye-bye. And he will head off to go and look at the situation. And you two can head upstairs. It's just a small 3-floor medical facility. There are people here sort of broken into 3 groups. The people who've just come here because they want to get a doctor's note that they get off from work, that kind of thing. They were injured. People who were essentially most trampled and hurt, sprained ankles, broken fingers, that kind of thing. And then there are probably 2 or 3 people who were actually here who were hit by the blade and are undergoing serious medical attention. So which group are you going to go and check in with?
Oh, dang.
Probably should try and hit the most hurt, I would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, maybe someone who's not currently in surgery or anything. But,
okay.
Certainly someone wounded.
So you will head on through here, looking for that. Let's say you find a room with one of these people in it. Kind of look around, make your way in. What is exactly that you two are looking for?
Ideally, if I can find some blood of one of these victims, I can at least see if the nanos have gotten into them.
Okay.
That's our fear.
Absolutely. So I think that both of you are going to have to roll here, because this is both a medical and a technical thing. So let's have you roll your medicine plus intelligence or surgery plus intelligence, Kyosuke, and electronics plus intelligence, Kyoju.
All right.
Cool. That is just medicine, right? Not surgery or anything.
That's we can do surgery. That's fine, because you're drawing blood, that kind of thing. It works for me.
Okay.
I am a generous GM, and this is a weird skill system.
15. So I get to re-roll this one. And I rolled 1 again. So 15.
15. Okay. And what did you get, Kyoju?
Let's see. 7. And now, just for a rules question real quick.
Sure.
I have that software that adds to electrical. Does that go into the subset as well, or just into the primary?
It'll add +2 dice to anything in that group.
Primary set. Okay.
+2 points, rather.
Yeah. All right. So that's 7 plus 7 is 14.
Okay. So you'll start moving through here, checking these out and testing people to make sure that there's no sign of this nano infection. Yeah, you will get through a bunch of them that are clear until you get to the last one. And that's where I'm going to cut over to the other group. So as I understand it, you two are going to the tattoo parlor. Is that right?
Well, mostly what you hear is us complaining about karaoke.
As we go to the tattoo parlor.
So let me ask you this. Are you going to essentially the app sharing tattoo place, or are you going to the actual install place?
I think that, well, we got to have, this is hard because,
Well, where do you think it's most likely? Who would be controlling this?
Well, it would be the people. It was something recent, so it has to be more like the tattoo sharing people. But neither of us have tattoos. I mean, my grandmother would. Oh man, she would take me apart.
Well, that's why I'm getting the tattoo. It'll make me look more. I don't know.
Oh, sure. And you brought me along to help you pick it out, right?
Sure. Except we could.
So the story is you need to see that there's enough choices that it's worth it to get a nano tattoo so that you could swap between them, because you got a strong idea of what you want your regular one to look like.
Do we want to show?
We'll try to get them to show you a wide array of the tattoos that are going around.
Do we want to show them some of the glyphs that we found on that lady?
Oh yeah, we can do. What do you say? I'll make up a sort of, a stylistic thing that's similar to it, but not it, because I don't want anyone showing that around. But the other thing is if they have, the only thing they'll have would be something like that. So let's try it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I would draw up a sketch that has like it looks like old and ancient, you know, spell runes, but isn't anything. It's kind of nonsense, but it has some of those same elements in it. Okay.
And dragons. It has to have dragons.
Yeah, that's the tattooy bit that we would get added. Sure.
So it's pretty early in the morning, but this is Shin Ito that runs 24 hours.
It does.
And so we come to this tattoo place. It's actually called the trading place is called Great Singer Symbols. That's written in English on the front, so it looks fancy and foreign.
Oh no, this isn't karaoke tattoos, is it?
No karaoke.
Is it a reference to what great singer?
You don't probably, maybe there's an Elvis, like an icon Elvis there. Yeah. So
Yeah, that or Madonna.
Right. Or both together, like they're dancing.
Oh, nice.
Probably in neon. Okay, flashing back and forth. So this place, the neighborhood around here smells like that sort of early morning businesses opening up, and they're doing all of that sort of Febreze and lemon spray and all of those things kind of clean up. So all of that sort of industrial smell chemicals is hanging on the air. And it's a walk down place. It's kind of a cafe with, benches, and there are video displays that are kind of flashing through different patterns, and they're clearly like little terminals on the table where people can kind of share their apps and things like that, and go around. And there are just a handful of people in here, but there's clearly a sort of a tattoo barista. I don't know what you'd call that, tatista, who is there, and really striking. Because she's got all the piercings and things like that, got the side cut hair, long comes down on the other side, rolled up white sleeve t-shirt, and you can see her tattoo is moving across her. It's like a Japanese scroll that is rolling across like a banner across her. The nanites keep doing that pattern on there, that sort of I can't remember the name of it, but the sort of light watercolor and ink done, sumui I think it is, and she clearly sees that you two are out of place.
Yes,
when you arrive.
That's all right.
And she'll come up. She's got her vape pen on her, and she'll do that. It's super retro, so it's got a little neon on it. And she'll blow cinnamon smoke in your water in your face.
Oh, lovely.
Whoa. Welcome to Great Singer Symbols. How can I help you?
No.
She sort of looks, okay, go Naoki.
No, go.
She sort of goes, listen, he lost a bet, he's got to get a tattoo. Thing is, we're trying to figure out whether he should get a tattoo or a nano tattoo now.
She looks at you, oh man, old man, you got to get a nano tattoo. It's the only way to go. Tattoo is there for life. It never changes. You get fat, you get older, and your skin stretches, and it's all warpy. Nano tattoos, you can adjust all that stuff.
I know, they sound very cool. I like yours with the scroll. That's very interesting. I was hoping
Isn't that nice?
Mm-hmm.
It's full. It takes a while to get a full thing like this, because sometimes you get when you have too much in, you get nanite rejection syndrome. So you got to do it in stages. It's a lot of vomiting.
Ooh. So.
But that's if you go like too fast, try to get too much. So
Really?
You want to start small. A sleeve is good. That's a good place to start there, especially if you're like Yeah. Do you have a corporate gig?
Sometimes she kind of laughs.
Okay. Yeah. You want to be able to roll your sleeves up so that you can do that, you know. And that gives you a nice palette to work with.
So, where would
And
you go
she
to
will
get
engage you.
Okay.
She'll engage you. Kind of start, you know, talking about that. You know, you guys can order tea, and she'll start chatting with you about the biz there.
Okay. So, one, I will ask her about, you know, because she mentioned the nano rejection, and I'll say, I read something about like this girl got a nano tattoo. She got it reprogrammed, and then she started having like bad dreams and stuff. Like, wow.
Let's have you make I think this is going to be an empathy roll here with charisma.
Great. Could you give me the link again? Because it is
Oh, geez. Yes.
There's no help aiding in this game, is there?
No, I don't think so. But let me check my cheat sheet. I don't see the notes for assisting. Usually I put that in if I could find some.
Okay. And then I'll need the rolling link.
Oh. I'm going to get Cherry's thing and then her question, and then I'm going to come back to you, Naoki. How does that sound?
Okay. That sounds good to me.
And then I'm going to swap back to the hospital.
Okay. So I'm rolling 3 dice, and I get to re-roll the lowest. And my dice. So I'm going to roll the bottom 3.
Okay. 4, 4, 4.
In this one, that 4 equals 4. So. Okay. So I got a 3, a 5, and a 6. So I'll re-roll the 3.
And your 6 explodes.
Oh, dang it. Why didn't you say that a second earlier? So 7, 11, or 7, 12, 13, 14.
So
Plus 6.
Plus
20.
6. So she is, you kind of say that, and that clearly strikes a chord with her. And she kind of doesn't want to say anything because she doesn't want to talk down the tattoo stuff because that's the business.
Uh-huh.
But she'll say, you know, there've been some weird stuff lately. There have been some girls who've come in who've had that happen where, I mean, it's clearly like they're getting something in their head, like they're freaking out about having made this choice. But, you know, but it's not even girls that have just gotten it. I don't know what it is. It's weird.
She kind of goes, well, here's the thing is, did you hear last night about that murder in the automat? I mean, like, where some girl went in and chopped up a bunch of people?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh, who was this girl named, and what was her name? Naoka? Or
I think Nyoka. Yeah, I think.
Naoka. There was this girl named Naoka who was like lived in that same neighborhood, and she had a nano tattoo. And
I know Naoka. That was her.
yeah, and I mean, she was like the nicest. I mean, you know, she was sweet, and
She'd been weird the last couple of times she'd come in. She was one of the ones I was telling you that was having.
Do you know any other girls who are having that?
I know a couple. I mean, they're all, yeah. That's.
And she goes, maybe. So she goes, you know, maybe I could go and check on her. And she kind of looks at him and goes, he's like a private investigator. I mean, not a cop, but he could look into it in case there's something weird going on.
So let's come to you, Naoki. She kind of got her, you know, she's played good cop. She's drawn out some information. What's your line of questioning, investigation, observation here?
Let's see. I think Naoki will pause a little bit and say, yeah, maybe I would like to look into this a little bit. You know, if there's some sort of drawback with dreams, maybe it would be good if you could provide us the names and we could, you know, or if you could just call them and find out if they're okay.
And she'll stop and she'll write down some names. Puts them on a piece of paper for you, and she'll hand that over to you, a set of 4 names.
And do they all have the same nanites and the same apps that they were using, or?
This is one where I'm going to have you make a perception plus. Let's do your searching roll here. Actually, let's do your empathy for that.
Okay. So that's going to be 2 plus 4.
Wait, empathy is a 4, right?
Yeah. But I get 2 dice for everything, remember? All my skills are 2. All my stats are 2.
That's right.
So I don't even have to think about it. 2. Come on.
You need to know if it's expertise or boost or what.
The empathy, no, empathy doesn't have anything. There we go. I got a 6 and a 3. So does the 6 explode?
Yes, it does.
Excellent.
You're at a 9. 13.
I'm not sure if that rolled. I don't think it did. So that's a 5. It's the 4s that disappear, right? So that's 11, 14 plus 4. So that's
18.
18.
And your focus here is
trying to find out if they all had the same app, the same nanites.
She'll say, she's kind of asking about that. She goes, no, there's a lot of, we get a lot of people through here. People do different apps and things, and and then she kind of stops. She goes, they all had different stuff, but there was that one guy that was here.
You mean one guy came with all of them?
No, he didn't come with all of them, but we had this guy. He looked like a homebody, the one of the shut-ins that gets out from time to time. He used to come around a lot when they were around. Like, because they're all, the people you're talking about, they're all young women, 18, 20s, cute, and he used to come around when they were here. Never did anything, never even talked to them, just hung around. And, couldn't kick him out because he wasn't doing anything, but I certainly got a creepy vibe off of him.
Did you happen to take a picture of him? Is he on your surveillance cameras?
Yeah. And she'll go and she'll pull up a picture and she'll show you this kid, maybe in his late 20s, 30s. He's got that kind of, skin that isn't particularly well taken care of, that kind of rumpled shirt and jacket. And you can see he's got a pretty high-end deck with a heads up that he's running, and he's just sitting there in the cafe.
Okay, thank you. I think, Makoto, I think we need to probably leave and go check out these other women. I will definitely. We will let you know what we find out and return, because I do want to have one of these tattoos. I think this will be very
absolutely, dude. You come in, you get that. I'll tell you where to go, and then we can get you hooked up with the right app.
Exactly. I think that would be very, very interesting. I think it would be very appealing. And so I guess unless Makoto has anything else that she wants to do, I think we've got probably what we need from here.
Now, Makoto is highly amused that you want one of these tattoos. So,
so we're going to cut to this next scene.
Before we do that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to send this picture to our cohorts in the hospital and say, look out for this man. He might be the controller. And I expect he might go to the hospital.
Okay.
And we better tell him about the 4 girls.
You don't want them to have any surprises?
No surprises.
Makoto, you're such a nice person. That is why I like you.
Yes, though I think it would be fun to have a nano tattoo. And then when I'm delivering pizzas, it could say, delivered hot. That would be cool.
Have a little timer countdown for 30 minutes.
I'm not sure that will be saying what you wanted to say.
Or is it?
So, Kyosuke and Kyoju, we come into this last room. There is a guy in there who is getting up off the bed. He's put on his pants, has just pulled his shirt on, is going to get his shoes on. You can see he's got along his forearm, essentially you can see the surgical staples where he's gotten treatment. And he looks a little pale, and he gets up. He's kind of getting up to go, and you guys come in, and he looks at you, and he says, "Who are you guys?"
Do you mind if we ask you a few questions? After this terrible ordeal, I wouldn't want to put you under undue stress, but I'm sure you would like to avoid anything like this happening again, now wouldn't you?
And he's kind of this old gaijin guy, a young guy. He kind of doesn't know what to make of this, and he'll go, okay, but I got to go." Pulling on his shoes there. What does he want to know?
Does he look like he probably shouldn't be leaving? I mean...
Yeah. He looks a little pale.
I'll kind of look over at my companion here and, give that, he don't look so great.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm an orderly. I just got off duty, but you don't look fit to leave. Have they checked you out?
I need to get out of here. I have to go find something.
What's that? I'm sure we could do a phone if you need. And
no, and he pulls on his other shoe, and see he's kind of looking around for where his jacket is, kind of not realizing that it probably got cut off of him in the surgery thing. And he stands up, and looks like he's probably going to start moving towards you guys in the doorway there, like he's kind of ignoring you and going to move on.
I've pulled out my what I've been using to kind of gauge these nanos. I'm guessing probably bigger than a tricorder, but not the size of a bullhorn.
Okay. Does it look like a very Rube Goldbergian kind of jerry rig together? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. He says, well, before you leave, just one moment, please. And I'm going to attempt to move over to where his bandage is. Does it have any bleed through?
Well, he's got the surgery scars on that, so there's probably some blood still on his arm from that.
And I'll try to move up and get his arm and hold him a moment if he'll let me and try and scan it. He may box me across the ears.
I think that, let's see here. So what is your number? What are you doing when he moves up to do that, Kyosuke?
I am trying to get a look at his pupils and looking around the room to see if maybe there's any sign that he's on medication, and trying to diagnose his mental state.
All right. I need you to make a will check for me, Kyosuke.
All right.
Um,
Oh, good. I'm good at that. Dang, I keep forgetting that my 6s explode. Cool. Just a straight will check?
yeah.
Cool. So I rolled an 8.
Okay.
So an 8 plus, do we add the 2 times will to that? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
So 8 plus 6, 14.
14. I'm going to come back to you in just 1 second. Kyoju, when you move up to this guy to do that, he is clearly going to try and physically push you away. I will let you make a dexterity check to if you want to avoid it, or do you want to try and take the push and get the reading?
Oh, I need that reading. I think I'm going to try and move up there and hope I can get just in there quick enough to, and hopefully if he's just shoving me, all he'll do is break a hip on me or something.
So let's have you roll dexterity, and then I'll tell you both what happens.
All right. Dexterity, I have 3. 5, 5, that's 13, plus my dex is 3, so 6, 19.
19. So yeah, you can get it up and kind of hit this guy as he's bringing his arm to kind of push you. You kind of hit that and get that sample off of that, and kind of it'll fall back, and your machine will actually go and kind of overload. And you do that, and you can see where his shirt has sort of shifted, that under his skin there is just this mass of black swirling around. It's kind of forming symbols and then changing back, where you kind of see that under his shirt. And when he turns to look at you, Kyosuke, you can see that there are little sigils and signs and things etched in his eyes, and they are moving and swirling there. And he sort of lurches forward towards you. You don't freak out. What do you do? We're going to start with Kyosuke.
Under my breath. The crickets. It's all real. And I think I'll just reach in my bag as fast as I can and just probably pull out like the bandages, because they're easy to grab. Those like heat binding bandages.
Okay.
And just like unroll a strip and just try to like stick him to his face, just right over his face.
Okay. Let's have you do a dexterity plus hand-to-hand on that.
All right. This is not going to go well.
It might not.
All right. So 7.
Okay. So you go to do that, and his head twists. It doesn't move. It twists sideways, and you'll hear that crack as the neck goes, as the body just kind of contorts to get out of the way of that bandage there. Kyoji, I'm going to let you take your action, and then this thing's going to go.
Holy crap.
Pop, maybe a bit of bone sticking out of the neck now.
I've seen what's happened with my reading. I've seen this happen. This is bad. I know my limitations. I reach over next to the bed and begin pushing the emergency call button.
Okay. Start hitting that. Kioski, this guy is going to... Let's see what his best plan is here now. I think the first thing he's going to do is he's going to grab to throw you. You have a defense of 12, so I'm going to roll for him. The GM rolls. That's crazy. Let me submit. I'll make those red. Okay. So that's 8 plus 2 is 4. So he is going to hit you. And you're going to take 6 points of damage. Essentially, it's hard. He kind of lifts you up and throws you. What do you smash into?
I think he'll like throw me through the bathroom door.
Okay, go back there, hit that sort of shower toilet combo, and kind of come down, pull down the curtain.
Do I have my like biker suit on?
Oh yeah. So you're only going to take 1 point.
Cool.
Yeah, and so what that is like is when you hit, the biker suit has a gel in it that solidifies from the impact and protects you, and your shoes light up.
They inform me that I have been punched.
Okay, they inform you that you have fallen down, so they do that.
Awesome.
And you've hit the alarm thing, and it looks now that Kyosuke's knocked that way. Kyoju, you're over there hitting that button. It looks like he is going to try and run out of the room. He's definitely going to make a break for it. And we're going to cut from you two. Let's cut back to Naoki and Makoto. You're obviously at someplace important. Where do we find you?
Let's see here. I think that we have actually stopped off at one of the Shinto shrines to get some official wards from the Shinto priests against hungry ghosts.
Okay.
Because things like this, you go to a professional.
And this is one of those small Shinto shrines things, and you come in and you have a cult, so you start talking to this guy, and he's like, oh yeah. He'll say, you're not the first one to come in.
Really?
For this today.
Who else came in?
A young man came in a couple of hours ago, getting some of these and some of the holographic ones that we have as a premium upload app. If you'd like one of our ward apps.
Yes, please. How much?
Okay.
What do I pay?
Well, it depends. Do you want it with adverts or not?
Freeware. Oh no, for this I will no ads, please.
Okay.
This young man, did he look like this? And we pull out the picture on the. Is this him?
Oh yes.
Huh.
I don't suppose he left a transaction receipt.
Well, we bought the things, but that's privileged information.
Hey, can I buy some gift wards and send them to a friend?
Well, certainly. He looks excited by that. We certainly have a variety of gift certificates for holidays and every season, blessings, prophecies.
All right. Just light it up. I'm gonna need at least 4 of these and 3 of these. And I need the self-deploy feature on all of them.
Okay. All right. So he'll make those arrangements. What are you doing while she's doing that, Naoki?
There's not much I can do, I don't think, if she's occupying him, unless he's not the one that manages the cash register.
Well, this is one Shinto priest managing this whole little shrine here. You could probably try and, if you could describe to me what your technique would be to lift this information.
Well, I think it might be sort of the two of us talking to him at once, and so the idea being that this would be fast talking then. So I'd be saying, as Makoto is asking about the gift wards and the self-deploying, I'd be butting in so that I'm sort of dividing his attention, saying, oh, but you don't understand. This could be really important. We really need to find this person. He might be in great danger. That's why he's buying these wards. You heard about the slashing at the automat? He might have been there.
Let's have you make a fast talk roll, and I'll give you a boost for the situational bonus. How does that sound?
Works for me. So let's see, 2, and then I think my fast talk is 4. Yes, it is. Okay. And now I just have to find it. Bum, ba, bum. And I just know I'm going to get double 4s. No, I got a 5 and a 2, so that's 7 plus 4, 11.
I will say that, yeah, you can grab at least a name and some basic contact info. How about an email off of that? How does that sound?
Well, that sounds great.
Okay. We'll come back to you in just 1 second. Sherry, you want to say something before?
As I'm buying these, I'm emailing them to my fellows, to essentially the prof and to everyone.
Okay. So you've hit the bathroom, slid down, kind of torn on this button, and you'll hear the chime of the ringtone coming through as someone is texting you. This guy's head is bent at this weird angle. He's thrown you across the room, and he's moving for the door. What do you want to do now, Kyosuke?
So I'm on the ground in the bathroom, presumably.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in that little stall in a hospital room, but
sure.
Yeah.
Is there any loose object I could possibly trip him up with handy?
Tell me, what would it be?
Actually, maybe there's a plunger there.
Okay.
I will, as he's trying to run out the door, I'll just thrust the plunger out and try to just stick it so it's just positioned right in front of his feet. So it's just going to hang up on the door frame.
Okay. Okay. So definitely trying to trip him. Let's have you roll hand-to-hand plus dexterity.
All right. Oh God, double force.
So you go to do that, and as you stand up, your elbow hits the shower, and the shower will go off, and you will fall. Water in a wet bathroom, you'll fall down, face right in the plunger, still damp from the last time it was used, and you skid out on the floor next to this guy.
It's a disinfecting technique. It's very advanced. We double it. It's deliberate.
Kyoju, kind of looks like you might be on your own at this point. So what do you want to do?
I have to feel like he's not up to any good, but I also know that there is very little I'm going to be able to do against this guy. So I'm going to probably try and move up to make towards where he is and kind of put myself between, over there so I could protect my friend who's off the ground as I'm going, what are you looking for? I imagine it's not in here. Right out the door with you there, buddy.
So yeah, if you want to protect Kyoju, that's not a problem. You can get in the way, and if you gesture the door, this guy will kind of throw the door open, and you can hear people running because that alarm is going off, and the head's twisted, and the head will kind of loll back around to where you're at, and it will vomit, and you will see come out from the mouth and even the ears and the eyes will just blow out with this black goo and it will spray upwards to the ceiling, and it just sprays, and you can see this outline of this woman, her limbs twisted, sort of made of a black shimmer, sort of crawl stuck on that ceiling, and it skitters along that ceiling out into that hallway. I need both of you to make will checks.
Oh my. Take these greens down at the bottom.
Oh, are you kidding me? 2 4s and a 1. God.
Don't know if it will or not. And I'll go with what it says. So 8, my will, that takes me to a 12 if it's double my will.
Okay. So you're going to take 3 hits essentially of sanity damage there, Kyoju. And what was your total, Kyosuke?
1. No, yeah. Or sorry, it would be. Well, I got 2 4s and a 1, so is that a botch?
But you'll add double your will, so that's a 7. So you're going to take 8 hits there, because you have never seen anything like this. The cricket was small. You could have written everything else off until this nano ghost exploded out of this body. And there's a moment where you're kind of stepping back, and the body's still standing there. The last drip's coming out of it, and it'll just crumble, collapse to the floor. So we'll cut away from that. So where would you two have gone? Did you go to the hospital immediately afterwards? Or did you head somewhere else, Naoki and Makoto?
I think Naoki has a bad feeling about the hospital. So it's based on what we know. Although we've got the 4 other girls we could look for, also on the guy, but we don't really have any leads on them. So, and I think he's probably in the hospital somewhere. So Makoto, let's go to the hospital as fast as we can. Do you have like one of those flashing lights for your pizza delivery?
Hot and now. The siren it sounds. Sherry, can you hear us? She's probably locked up.
No.
We'll give her a second. So I'm going to assume hospital then. So let me think here where the timetable will probably intersect here. The most dramatic thing I can imagine is you two coming up onto the hospital, even as you maybe hear some shrieks and screams from inside there. And much like at that cafe, there's that panic as people kind of in the waiting room don't know what's going on. And there's something happening. What would you do, Naoki?
Well, obviously, I'm going to go in. This is obviously something is happening, and so but I'm going to be going against the flow of the people with Makoto. So I imagine we're going to have to like go to the side and just try and get by them and not get washed away with them.
So describe to me what it is that makes you good at doing that.
Probably athletics.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got dodge of 4, so I expect I'm dodging them. So that's probably what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
While pulling Makoto after me.
So let's do it this way. Let's do a Dex plus dodge, and the marginal success will tell us when you get up there. How does that sound?
Okay.
Okay.
Either that or we look for another way in, but I think this is probably the only way that will be open if this is a secure facility. Okay, so let's see. 2 dice. I have the best character. Oh no. Yeah, so that's a 3
Okay.
plus 4, so that's a 7.
Okay. So I'm going to cut away because it is hard getting up there. Kyoju, you took the least amount of freak out from that. So what do you do?
Okay, this is definitely scary stuff, but having seen this and knowing kind of what we're dealing with here, I have to think there's a techno element to this. So I think, I'm going to be moving. I was over there next to my young friend, and I will kind of be pulling us back, and I will have pulled out what another piece of equipment, basically.
Okay.
And be seeing if I can, where this vomit has come out, if I can, maybe more like a container than equipment, and try and scoop a bit up into it and shove it on as I'm pulling us out of the door. I would much rather innocent bystanders die than us.
Okay.
I'm that sort of guy.
So yeah, I will say you can grab him up and you can get a scoop of whatever the last of this is dripping out of this body's mouth. You'll hit it on the hallway, and there's that thing where all the lights are doing that flickering thing, so that you're getting that strobe effect as people are flowing, and you'll see this black figure skitters along the hallway ceiling and then out a window and outside, and the lights are kind of flickering. People are panicking and not sure what's going on. Probably a fire alarm going off now. What do you want to do, Kyosuke? How are you feeling?
At first, I'm kind of, I think, reluctant to get out of the shower because I've rushed back in and making sure there's nothing on me. Just like sort of prancing around, screaming in a shrill voice. And then when he's dragging me out, I'll just like leap into his arms and cling around. It's like, "Thank you, Professor. Thank you. I'm so sorry I looked in your package, Professor. I didn't mean to."
Quite all right, my boy. Quite all right.
Then as like we're walking past like a utility closet or something, I'll grab your shirt and be like, "We need masks and gloves and goggles and probably aprons and coats. If it touches us, it could get inside us."
I don't think so.
No.
Needs an entry wound.
It didn't cut you, did it?
No. How about you?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I have my armor. What was it?
Well, I cannot say for sure, but I believe someone has made an unholy union of technology and the spirit world.
Was it made of nanoparticles?
We'll see, but I believe so.
And it's probably about that moment that, Naoki, you'll come around sort of the top of the steps up to this 3rd floor, and you will see a very shaken-looking Kyosuke and Kyoju. Weirdly, Kyosuke is wet, like soaking wet, and he's got all of this like hospital supply gowns and stuff in his arms.
No time for dress up. What are you doing? Where is it? What's all the commotion about? And did you see the person we sent you?
It's all true. I look at you with like goggles on my face and stew. The crickets are real. It's all true.
All right, my boy. We did not have time. We were quite busy. A full-formed apparition erupted from that poor corpse over there.
And where did it go?
Out that window.
They point to a broken window.
So Naoki's going to go out and see if he can see it.
Look out, that early morning dusk, that light industrial haze, it's gone.
And he'll pull up the picture of the guy again.
Bravo.
So pull the picture of the guy. Did you see this man? Was he here?
No, not that I noticed. I suppose it's possible we could look through some of the surveillance cameras. They seem a little distracted in here right now.
And so was this the only patient that was infected?
Yes. All the others showed no signs. His levels were extraordinarily elevated, even before the, well, eruption.
And what you have there, are those active nanites?
I cannot tell now. They're rather small. Perhaps we could either return to my lab or they should have one here.
Because my question is, can you find out, do they communicate with the rest of the swarm?
That would take probably some equipment. But certainly there's nothing I couldn't find out given enough time.
I think Nokia goes up to him, grabs him by the shirt, and says, "We don't have time. This is another apocalypse.
We don't have time."
Makoto, are you back with us? No.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh God, I'm on my phone. So because it was working, so the cat had to walk behind the computer and destroy it. So I'm trying to log back in. So anyway, awesome. Yes, I'm here. So I'm coming up the stairway going, and I kind of noticed them up at the top because I've just been taking my time. I don't like going up staircases. And she looks up and she goes, "Did you get my call? I sent you some words."
I'll try to pull out my phone with my gloves and without dropping the aprons.
You have received a gift from Shinto Shrine United. Press here on the gift box to open your ward.
Thank you, Makoto. It means a lot.
Sure.
When you press it, it makes like you got a big phone, and it makes like a little prayer strip image on your phone.
I'll begin looking around to see if I see a sign pointing to a lab.
Yeah, I would say, given the chaos here, if you want to, you can hit the lab, and you've got a sample of this. Assuming that it does have some kind of communication, what is it that you want to do?
First off, I want to see if it's active. If it is active, I want to see if it's generating something out. And then I'm probably going to want to try and either put some sort of like an EMP into it or something to either stop it or to block. Probably better if I could just block it. That way later we could trace it.
Okay. Yeah, I think tracing is probably your most probable thing. So let's have you make that electronics roll here.
Okie doke. I'm a good one on that. So, intelligence?
Yes.
Oof. I got a 4, but I have accuracy on this. That's going to give me +2 if I make it, isn't it? So I have 4 plus, that takes me up to 11. And with my accuracy, I add 4 points to my success margin if that was a success.
Okay. So I will say you can get, the most you can get is a very basic sort of cell phone triangulation tower trace on this thing. Essentially from the sympathetic communications there. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds fine. And I'll let everybody know what I'm, what I'm discovering, and look back and say, it would seem that you were right, Nyaki. There is something that is being transmitted here.
Of course, it's calling home to Mom. So can we find it? I'm sort of wondering if I just held the jar, is it going to pull in one direction? Is that going to make it easier than his high tech? I have a low tech solution. He has a high tech one.
Well, let's cut to the next part where the obvious here, since we're getting tight on time. Let's cut. You guys can follow this thing. And we'll do the scene. It's still early morning. It's still dusk, and we will find you at what looks like a might have been in like an augmented reality facility at one point. They might have done like VR and stuff, but the tech has kind of passed them by. So it's been repurposed as sort of a multi-purpose unit building for hacker squatters, that kind of thing. People just kind of hanging around, maybe some floors turned into big rooms. Some of them are private, that kind of thing. You'll see guys walking around. They've let their hair grow out. They've done them into dreadlocks. They're wrapped in wires. And there's some people with tattoos around here. Probably see some people with like some kami style tattoos, but they're sort of done in Mesoamerican style. And like one guy just has a dolphin that just runs up and down his arms. You see that, and you can tell that this thing is in this building. But as you come up sort of onto the first floor of that, you don't see anybody freaking out. You see a few of them are doing that sort of spark drug, where essentially they take a chemical stuff and then they hook themselves up to some electronic stimulants to amplify the effect. So it's a real kind of squatter den thing as the four of you roll up on this place. And people get out of your way because Naoki still has that cop vibe to him. So how do you want to proceed?
I would, as we were traveling, said something to Makoto. Do you think there is some significance that it seemed that women were possessed, and yet this man seemed to vomit this creature forth? Or do you think maybe this is some final form it has taken?
I don't know, he was a creeper, and he was particularly watching those girls. And the thing that they had was a summon of the hungry ghost. So I wonder if he's assisting it to grow in power, and now it's at power. Now he's got to protect himself from it. I don't know. Sounds like a bad deal for someone.
Yes.
What do you think, Naoki?
I think the ghost probably came here, but nobody's. So we need to find this man. So I think Naoki will just start trying to see if there's like a front desk person or somebody that looks like would be watching the door to see who comes in.
Squatter's place. Yeah. So you can probably grab somebody here to talk to. You see guy, he's got like one of those HUDs, like HUD visor on. But he's clearly had it on for a long time because it's kind of gotten infected around the edges.
Nasty.
He looks at you and he's clearly like seeing something else. And he's like, "Oh, what, man? What?"
And Naoki will like snap his fingers in front of his face and
Not so fast, not so fast, not so close.
come on, man, focus. I need your attention here. Have you seen this guy?
And kind of looking, goes, yeah, that's Akita.
Akita, where is he? We need to find him. He's in danger.
Oh shit, man. Good riddance. She's up on 5th floor.
Why do you say good riddance?
He's kind of an asshole.
Oh, okay.
Nasty guy.
5th floor, where?
Kind of points to the big stone, grimy stairwell, the big empty elevator shaft. The doors are open. And he's like, "That's up that way, man."
You might want to leave this building now. And Naoki will then turn around.
This is where all my stuff is.
It's just a thought. You might want to leave.
I'm going to pull my gun out.
Whoa! Hey, dude. He gets up and he will move off. Essentially, when people see firearms, they move. They get out of here.
I'll put my rubber gloves on with a snap.
Get your full containment suit on.
Just stare at him in the eye as I put the gloves on.
That's a different
He
kind
does
of
double time out of there.
I think Michael sort of punches you in the shoulder and goes, "One of us."
So who takes point here?
Oh, it's probably Naoki. Unless somebody else wants to, because he can be stealthy, might go up the stairs quickly and quietly. Or if there are 2 stairwells, one group could go up one and he could go up the other.
We'll say one.
Okay.
One makes the most dramatic sense here.
I wanted to I wanted to ask where at the hospital could I verify like if there was any biological material in that swarm, or was it just all nanoparticles?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, it does seem like it was purely the nanoparticles and not any kind of biological thing.
So could that many it's not feasible that many nanoparticles should be able to fit in a tattoo then, is it? Or could it?
It's definitely grown. Like it's clearly taken it's absorbed. You would guess that it's probably what's this body, this thing is probably made out of all of those tattoos from those people that died.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, filthy, garbage in the floors, broken windows, stairwells, like little neon alert things, the neon strips that are broken as you come up. And as you hit that sort of stair to that turn on that landing up to that 3rd floor, you can see that the lights are doing that sort of, flicker thing in the hallway there. And you can't exactly see anything here. It's like one long hallway. But when you get up to the thing, you'll see there's a door sort of at the end of this hall. There are a couple of smaller ones that look like Naoki, like they're boarded up. The door at the end got this sort of red light glowing from underneath the door, and you can see that there are some holographic projections of some things not unlike what you have on your phone. And you just hear in this dark hallway beyond that, like something is moving. And then you'll hear it kind of, you don't see it, but you see that door at the end of the hallway kind of shake, like something's butting against it. What do you want to do?
I think Naoki wants to pull out his phone and activate his ward.
Okay. So you can get that on, and when you do that, kind of stand up and do that, there's a little more light, and then there's a shifting sound. Like that's drawn some attention. What do you want to do, Kyosuke?
Yeah, as soon as I see him pull out his ward, I'm like fumbling for my phone to do the same.
Okay. All right.
Then,
so you got that flashing glow of these gift wards that are there kind of strobing along with the lights in the ceiling. Maybe now you're getting a shadow shimmer of that shape, that black skin shape. It's at the end of that hallway, scratching at that door, scratching at those hollow wards on that door there. What do you want to do, Kyoju?
Becoming less confident that my gun is going to be much help. So far, these wards have seemed to give us a better view of what we're dealing with. So I'll pull out my phone and also start my ward up. Okay.
When you do that, you got enough light. You get that red light from that doorway. You've got these three flash, essentially phone flashlight wards, and it looks like an emaciated, like black oil slick person. Like somebody poured that into a mold of a girl and poured this out badly. Kind of that image. It's trying to claw to find a egress through into that room. It's aware of you and it's kind of moving back away, but it wants to break through.
Am I noticing, like where we say he has his door, we've got some light to it, we think, we're believing there's some wards on it. Does he have like a lock? Is it mag locked or anything like that? Is it a tech lock or a solid lock?
I would say probably has a tech lock on that. That would make sense to me. Makoto, what are you doing? You're muted. And the cat is going to prevent you from unmuting.
Right. So I take out the sheath of the paper, the rice paper wards that I have, and essentially I start going down the hall. And as I go, I put them on the wall because I know she can't go past those without some problem. So I go through them, and I kind of am sort of creating a buffer zone for ourselves. It's not entirely safe, but it'll at least slow her down. What I want to do is get to one of those boarded up doors.
Yes. So let's say that you guys can move and press and go along and get a good distance down this hallway. That force of those wards that you're holding, pushing on this thing. Now it's maybe starting to realize it's caught between and is kind of thrashing around. So what do you guys want to do? Got this thing. It's thrashing around. It is a ghost. It is multiple ghost souls tied up in this thing, hungry,
Makoto,
hunting for the one that summoned it.
I can make some effect upon the technological aspect of this, but you'll need to contain its spiritual energy, I imagine. I'll hand my phone off to whoever's closest to me. Distracted, for goodness sakes, as I'm going to try and rush over there towards the door. Hopefully not getting it to attack me, but I'm going to try and overload that door and see if I can make a mag pulse that'll at least disrupt these nanites for a minute or two.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we're going to kind of go to a narrative here then. I think it's a good point to do that. So looks like he's running up to kind of disrupt it, get it set. How are you assisting with this process, Kyosuke? What do you do to have this work?
I'll run up to it, and as the thing is turning towards the professor, I'll sort of throw my phone with the charm on it, in between the professor and the creature. try to get it to jump back.
Yeah. So you kind of throw that, and there'll be that sort of flash crackle as the ward hits against it, and it'll screech. What about you, Naoki? What do you do to help with this process?
Naoki's actually going to take a different tactic and break down the door where what's his face is.
Okay. You actually want to kick that door in?
Yep.
Okay. So that door is getting kicked in. And Sherry, what are you doing when that goes on?
I think that the best thing to do is essentially she does a sort of very, oh God, almost like the anime style of a spin, and she casts out the paper wards, you know? But she's also pointing towards the door to suggest that those guys are going to knock it down. So it's almost like one of those dumb magical girl twirls. Does that make any sense?
So, perfect. Let me tell you what I think happens, and you can see. So, Professor, you've run up with this device, and that draws its attention, the movement. It wants to get in that door, but now this thing by it. And it's at that point that Kyosuke throws that phone, and there's that flash. And then there's those paper things kind of pushing it, and Naoki kicks that door. And it probably busts off its hinges. And we have sort of two things happen almost simultaneously. One is that this thing goes in, and you will hear this scream from inside that room as this ghost lands, and there's probably a spray of blood that's followed very quickly by the professor hitting that EMP, and there'll be this shriek and then a and you can look inside, and there's like broken down nanoparticles, that sort of black ooze goo. It's kind of sprayed all over. And the thing that strikes you is, how could this thing have dismembered this guy so fast? How could that have happened? And it's just bloody ooze and goo, and maybe that smell, that sort of burning smell that is of that ghost having been ignited by your effects here.
Good job, Professor. Good job, guys.
So what's our final bit scene here? We see from the professor. What's our final shot from you?
I'm probably going to rather delicately step around this blood to go over to wherever his equipment is and try and pull out wherever his hard drive or whatever information he's been using, slide it into my overcoat pocket and say, I think our work's done.
And Kyosuke, what's the last scene we see of you?
I'm gonna, as the professor's doing that, I'm gonna look over my shoulder, make sure he's not watching me, and pick up my phone, and then send all of the weird, shady contacts and information on his phone to mine.
Okay, to the clone. Okay,
do clone, and I'll just delete the logs, and then just put his phone on the floor and step back to the other side.
Put it back in the goo and blood. Okay. Naoki, what's our last shot of you in this?
I think it's Naoki holstering his gun, sort of sitting back on the wall, against the wall, while the others are like searching and whatnot. He's got one knee up, and he looks at Makoto and says, "No, I think a fire-breathing dragon is gaudy. Maybe just maybe some koi fish. That's peaceful and sort of pleasant."
Well, I like that. That could work.
Mm-hmm.
And Makoto, what's our last shot of you?
I think that essentially the last shot is clearly like a few days later, and you see her drop a pizza off at the professor's, and then she sort of slides a box over by the dorm room for Kyosuke, knocks but leaves real quickly. And then at the end, you see her sitting on the curb with Naoki, him showing her his new tattoo while they eat pizza.
Perfect. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate we went. I would like to do just a couple minutes of Roses and Thorns, if you guys don't mind, so that we can do that. We'd usually do Thorns first, so we'll start with that, and then we'll do Roses. My thorn is that I've got to go down and figure out what's wrong with Sherry's machine and why it's being kind of an asshole today. So that was too bad, because there were some moments there I would have liked to have you on deck for the scenes, and that ate up. I ended up wasting more time than I should have, kind of dawdling around on that. You never know with technical stuff. So that's mine. Sherry, what about you, Thorns?
It is 900% the technical difficulties. I do this all the time. I don't usually have technical difficulties, so this was really crazy making. But it is my work computer, and they sent down a bunch of updates today, and I'm sure something gummed up the works. So awesome, huh? I'll get it worked out before next week.
Okay.
Also, this cat is a brat because she's the one who got me the last one.
Christo, Thorns, about the system, about play, about what we did.
No, I don't think I have any thorns. I think I want more. I like this one. I like the setting a lot. I mean, the mechanics.
I really do.
Yeah, the mechanics, they work. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they work. So that's fine.
I think I definitely will. Before I run this again, I will collapse those skills down again. I don't like having all those sub skills. It way too much granularity. So Jeremy, it's the first time you played with me. 2 sessions of that. It was great to play with you, and now I'm going to let you have the chance to give us Thorns.
Yeah, I have to agree. The mechanics are very funny. They're maybe a little obsessive. Because it's a very evocative setting, right? Like, it seems very story-centric. It's weird that they would choose such a detailed system. I like the core mechanic of, the adding the large bonuses to just a couple dice, but yeah, it's weird. But other than that, no, it was great. I felt like it started off a little slow in the first session. Well, just my character, maybe, but I think that was, I don't know. I just didn't quite feel my character early on.
I felt like the second half of the last session you got into it, but yeah, at the start you might have.
Yeah. It's funny. The name of the game is Black, and I don't know if you caught that, but I commented last time that it never occurred to me that was kind of like a pun on noir.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, like that sort of noir element was lost on me. Not that we were noir this time around at all, but
no, we moved out of noir.
But somehow, I don't know. After I got that, like, it's more like a detective sort of story. Not my place, but yeah, that's about it.
Tyler, Thorns.
Well, again, obviously the tech. It was a shame to have any time that Sherry wasn't with us. The system itself, I like it. It's got a lot to it. So it makes me, it wasn't like we could do every part of everything, because there was an oodle to it. I mean, it was a lot. But all in all, I thought the system was pretty good. So really not very much on the Thorn level. It was a fun story.
So we'll do Roses. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this setting. It's so strange and it's so odd, and I just really like it. I like being able to throw a little bit of the cyberpunk details in there. I like that tech, and I like it, with the strangeness, with the vibe. a lot of J-horror things happen to people. Think bad things happen to people for no reason, and the stories kind of spin out of that, which is often interesting for considering how you do mysteries in that context. But I like it. I like it a lot. Sherry, Roses?
Yeah. Every time we play Kuro, I love it. And the other thing is I always meet awesome players when we're playing Kuro. So that's the best thing about Kuro, and you should just run it every 3 months. So we can play with more people. And Christo, again, always. No, I love this game. It's traddy trad times 10 trad in all the different ways. And in some ways, it's the best and most sort of endearing sort of trad, where it's got like a whole bunch of granularity that really doesn't do anything. It's sort of a pleasant noise that helps you get an idea about your character. And as long as you're just playing like a little short thing, it might as well be a kind of messy story game set up, because trad gets traddy when you do the long thing with a bunch of where you get uber powerful. Mm-hmm. So
once you have to delve into character creation stuff, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, but anyway, I like this. I love this every time, and I think it's like my good luck game. It's all 4-leaf clovers for me. So,
yeah, Christo, Roses.
I was going to say, how can this be your good luck game, Sherry?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your technical difficulties. I don't want to see your bad luck game then. Roses, setting is very evocative. I think part of it is that Japan is under an embargo, so we're all trapped here. So whatever happens here, we can't get away. Mm-hmm. So I think that's part of what sort of plays into this. That it's not only a dystopia, but we're trapped and all this weirdness is happening, and if we don't deal with it, then we're probably all going to die. So yeah, no, I like it. I mean, I'm more used to the mechanics now. It's fun, but I think it really comes back to the setting. I wonder, could you port the setting over to another game and have it another system and have it work?
Yeah, I wonder. I think about that. I mean, I think a low-powered monster of the week might do it, but I'd really want to kind of defang some of the playbooks. Because that's the one thing about Monster Week is it's a great game, but those people have a lot of power. And I've looked at the Tremulous is very Lovecraft and kind of doesn't do what I want it to do. Think about that. Now you got me hacking thinking. Anyway, but good stuff. Jeremy, Roses?
Oh, man. I love that ending. That was great.
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that whole session, actually. It was hilarious. I liked how it just sort of devolved into this weird genre mashup that somehow worked. It was like, I could totally imagine it being a magical girl anime starring Makoto. But at the same time, yeah, it was genuinely creepy. I love that monster. It was good. I wish we could have played another session, honestly. Yeah. I could have gone on quite a while, I feel like. But I do have to say, though, that I'm almost happy how concise it was, because at the end I liked how we never quite got like how the monster worked spelled out, like it was
right.
You alluded to it, but I liked how it was kind of unknowable and just left as one of those strange mysteries. Like it gives the impression that the setting is very large and
isn't that sort of the nature of J-horror?
Yeah.
You're really going to understand it all necessarily.
Yes.
And that was one of the things with the last mystery that we did, and I think similar to this one, where they stopped the thing that happened, but they were like, I don't understand what was going on there. What mushrooms, and they were burying children, and what, I don't know. I mean, they really that confusion that they knew they'd stopped it, but they weren't exactly sure how, and I think that's a good element.
Yeah, it is a very evocative setting. It's very cool. You get the impression this stuff is just happening right over there to someone else. It's cool. I like it a lot.
Tyler, I'm going to give you last word.
I agree with everybody. This setting is super cool. There's something to the grittiness of it. I like the not unbelievably far in advance cyberness of it. You know, it's accessible cyber, and I thought that was really cool. That idea of Japan locked off and something terrible has happened and no one even really understands what. This story was cool. That monster was terrifying when it vomits up and does the turnaround. That was creepy. That was really good. On the system, I'll be honest, I don't know if something like Powered by the Apocalypse would be best for it. I don't think that question moves or that sort of thing are a good idea for this game. I like the kind of, you know, you're either pretty good at something or really good at something, and then there's stuff you're just not good at. And I like having to play through to find out your stuff.
That's a good point.
I just think that's neat. And playing with all of y'all was great. You're all phenomenal players, and your characters were wonderful. I'm so glad I got to play with y'all. I'm glad I got to hop in.
I appreciate you doing that and being willing to kind of roll with it at the beginning where we had to hard frame you in there.
It was fantastic. And I felt what was nice is it really felt like my character got asked in, felt like it made sense. I sort of meshed with it. There was nice chemistry all around. I thought it worked really well. Good stuff.
All right, guys, thank you very much for doing this. And I will, this was actually, I have to tell you, this game was, I said to Sherry, okay, I've got a Wednesday. What do you want me to run? And this is what she asked for. So I'm sure we will come back again next year. We'll do it again. All right, I'm going to stop the broadcast.